So as always, I'm going to be taking the transcript of the conversation. As always, we're going to be annotating that transcript later on, and you're actually going to be doing it for homework, and we're going to be reading the annotations part. Before we get started with our final discussion of the year, and this should be hopefully the best one. This is the last one of the year. I need you guys to think back. So we've had 7 other discussions besides this. As you think back of what we do well as a class, what are things that we've improved on as a class over the course of the year in our discussion? I want us to share a few. And then I want us to share things that we need to do to improve. Because this is our final one, so what are going to be our goals? So I start your hand first.
Reflecting off of each other and using kids language. Well, not book.
On the themes? Literary terms? Okay, so you're mentioning 2 things. You think we do a good job building on each other's comment, and you think we do a good job using literary terms, specifically characterization and themes. Okay, thank you for speaking loud. Joe?
Participation.
In general, our participation, I agree, and Diego agrees with you. Our participation has been fairly high. On average, we have about 85% participation in this class. So yeah, so we usually have people who speak more than once in this class. All right. So in that sense, so that goes along with participation, right? So in that sense, those are things that we're doing well. What about things we need to do to improve for this final discussion? What should be some of our class goals? Ida and then Asia. What do you mean? So say more about that. Okay, so building, so not just agreeing as Tamara was saying, but actually building on people's comments. Okay, Asia. Yeah, we have had a tendency with people making these really long comments to take away from airtime, right? So we want to make sure we keep the comments short and sweet. Last one, or and we started doing that a little bit last discussion. Or if you didn't understand something, or if you wanted somebody to clarify something, or if you wanted somebody to even expand on it, you asked each other questions. We haven't really done that, so that would be something good to see. What's the new rule in the discussion? You don't have to raise your hand to speak. But what does that mean in terms of how we talk? If you don't have to raise your hand to speak, what are the implications of that? Everybody with their hands raised. What does that mean if you don't have to raise your hand? Talk freely. Okay, but are there any problems you think could arise? Okay, but that's something that we should always watch, right? Not to get off task. Okay. Andres.
Speak over each other.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm a little worried about people speaking over each other. So you have to be very conscious of the fact that you want to hear as much as you are speaking. Nathan?
Respect for others.
You
guys like to wait until someone else says something.
Yeah. And how should you determine? 2 people want to speak at the same time. How do you determine who goes first? 2 people want to speak at the same time. How do you decide who goes first? Sharon, what do you think? If 2 people want to speak at the same time, how do you decide which one should speak? So that's one thing. You just be like, all right, you speak. What's another thing you should take into account when people want to speak over each other? Joe?
If you spoke already, let the person can speak.
Alright. Martin, let's comment on that.
Be mindful about how many comments you made.
Yes. So watch your airtime, right? You want to be mindful of how many comments you've already made versus the other person. Okay. Now, last thing, because again, this is worth 5 grades. What are the things that I'm grading you on during this discussion? What are things that I take into account? When we look at the transcript, how do I determine what you should get? And everybody at this point should know this. I'm worried that there are only 4 hands up. It's hurting me inside. How are you grading? Only this many people know how we're grading? Kevin, you don't know how you're graded on this discussion? No idea how you're grading. What am I looking for in a comment? So I'm looking for you to build on each other's comments. That's one way that you're grading. What else am I looking for? Literary terms is huge. I need references to the returns. What else am I looking for, Leonard? Textual evidence. There are two types of textual evidence, right? What are the two types? What's the difference between direct and indirect?
Direct is like from the book, you never can like describe it. But I said that's what
Yeah, so if you're answering Lord knows what, then it's gonna hurt your grade, right? What else am I grading you on, Marvin? We already said that one. Building on choice comments. Think of what else? Behavior. Okay. What are easy ways to get threes in terms of behavior? Easy ways to get threes, correct?
listening when you try and going to the application.
So you should be tracking the speaker, or if a person has a page, that's automatic. Open your book to that page. Automatic. Any other ways for behavior, Marvin? Yeah, you're allowed to look at the transcript and see if you want to build on people's comments that way. All right, let's get started. So the way it's going to work, just like always, I'm going to read the question, and then whoever wants to speak can start speaking. So the first question, or the first statement to discuss, compare and contrast David and Minerva's approach to the revolution.
Minerva had a purpose to rebel in her mind. She was courageous and she wanted to rebel for what she thought that was right. She did not want the people to be in power. She wanted to take it down.
Well, I agree with Marlon when he said that she wanna. What you say again?
I said how he never had a purpose to rebel and how she wanted people. She wanted the.
Did that? And they both were determined, and they wanted to fight for what they believed in, and that was the thing that was rebellious.
I agree with mine. And I would like to add more on Day's part, because she was not as rebellious, and so she played by the rules. But Minerva, she wasn't scared to fight.
I agree with Joe, because I feel like he was scared to look at her first. Like he and when she wanted to get at Castillo because he killed her father.
I would never, that I would like to see more. I also want to say that Minerva, she was more thinking about the future and about her kids' life and how their lives would be affected by Castillo and his plans and ruling plans that were told. That day I was like, she said like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna follow whatever he says and that's just something. She didn't have as much care.
How this much what?
I felt like that it was kind of generic and realistic compared to Minerva, who were like one of the hashtag person.
I would like to agree with Joseph, because I believe that I would like to characterize Day as more passive than Minerva. Page 70.
On page what?
Page 70.
Page 70.
She
Wait, I can look at the page 70.
70. Heidi told invites her to play volleyball. She's like, I'm not about that volleyball. She says, I don't play, I just watch. She says, I don't play, I just rock. And it shows that she's like, she herself like recognizes that she's passive. And like she doesn't fight with her, I mean not fight, she's alongside her
Any final thoughts on this question? I'm sorry, we're talking over each other, and there are a couple of people who want to speak.
Bede and Minerva's approach to automation was similar by how they both knew to ask questions, but they were different because Bede was more apprehensive about it, about the revelation, and Minerva was more straightforward.
Saturday? Stop the first question there. I just want to look back really quick. What do you guys think you're doing well so far in this first question? Joe? So we're definitely building on each other's comments, okay? How about in terms of participation? Right? We already have about 50% of the people who spoke so far, and that's only the first question. That's where you go. What are things that we need to work on? Okay? So as of now, we only have one direct reference to the text, right? Which is Nathan with the playing volleyball. Apart from that, we have a lot of general statements, like Minerva wanted to take the PO down, that Minerva was looking to the future, while Dede was just stuck in being passive. But we don't have any textual evidence to justify that, so I want to push you guys to have textual evidence in your comments. Anything else we need to improve upon? Anything else that we need to improve upon? Right? So we're doing a good job of agreeing and disagreeing, but we're not always rephrasing people's comments. How about literary terms? Yeah, we have characterization, and then we have, I think, Alexis referencing of rebellion. Oh, so we have some SAT words that we've been using, right? Okay. So let's go to the next question. And again, don't be shy about just raising, not raising your hand, but just talking.